Have you ever found yourself asking the question, what is wrong with these people? Or have you ever thought to yourself, if I need it done, I guess I just have to do it myself? Or maybe you've asked the question, why doesn't anyone see this the way that I do? Or maybe you've even thought, I work so much harder than these people. Now, I doubt you've said these things, and even if you have said it, I can all but guarantee that you've thought it about 1,000 times for every one time you've let it come out of your mouth. However, these questions make up the defining question for a reluctant manager. It's at this stage that you realize not everyone is wired the same as you, and that leaves you wondering what is wrong with all of them more often than not. However, by this stage, you probably haven't quite realized yet that it is a good thing that they aren't wired like you. I mean, honestly, would you work for you? While all new managers who are also high performers in their own right feel this same way, there's an added layer for the founder. And that's because your people's pay is coming right out of your pocket. And you're looking at them thinking, I could have bought a new boat in cash, but instead I'm paying you to sit there and ask me questions and do a half-baked job to boot. It's infuriating. Now, I do want to pause to say it's not so much that they're doing a bad job, as you'll learn typically at a later stage. The vast majority of the problem here is you. It's your hiring, your training, your managing. Let's be honest, you are probably a pretty lousy manager. Again, would you work for you? And here's why it matters. And this is actually what separates stage 3 from stage 2. It's that you can't do it on your own anymore. You are now dependent on your people to do your job. And especially at first, that is very uncomfortable. I still remember when I arrived at this stage on my journey as a founder. We had hit the ground running back in September 2008. It was when we relaunched our business, and despite the fact that much of the world was in the tumult of the financial crisis, we were on fire. The relaunch had gone stunningly well, and even though we had inherited some severe problems from the previous owners, things like a ton of debt with our relationships with our vendors, we had a completely unusable website, which is a big deal for a web-based company, and we had several hundred frustrated customers who had paid their fees to the previous owners, but had gotten little, if anything at all, in return. However, despite all of this, we were growing like crazy. It was hard work, but it was so much fun. We would start the day full of excitement. We would end the day righteously exhausted. My partner worked the phones and had the sales pouring in while I worked the back and was busy getting the job done and getting our website back online. We immediately brought in a couple of employees who had worked for us in the past, and it was go time. Now, over the next 12 months or so, more and more sales came in part thanks to finally having a working website again. And so what did we do? We hired and hired and hired. And like so many startup entrepreneurs, we basically had 3 criteria for a new employee. The first one was, did they have a pulse? And if I'm honest, sometimes this is all the further that we made it. The second was, did we like them? And third, did we think they could figure out how to do the job? And then one day I suddenly woke up to the fact that someone needed to manage all of these people, and that someone was me. It was incredibly frustrating. At any one given point in time, I had 3 or 4 big projects that I was working on, but I'd find myself working an entire day, maybe even an entire week, without touching even one of them. Instead, I was constantly helping employees out. I was problem solving, I was smoothing things over with customers. I had my work that I needed to do, but more and more it seemed like all I did was fight fires and fill in gaps for other people. Sure, I was the boss, but if I'm honest, most days I felt like I was working for them instead of them working for me. And so I started avoiding the office. I would work from home just so I could get something done. I would come in early, or I'd come back and work late, or I'd even work over the weekend just so that I could have the time to do what I needed to do without being bothered by someone else. I had reached stage 3 of my founder's evolution. I had become a reluctant manager. And if you find yourself in that same position today, I've got good news. This is a normal stage that we all go through. And over the course of the next few videos, I'm going to show you exactly what you can do about it and how you can thrive in this stage and succeed to the next. I'll see you there.